Well, hello, and everyone, and welcome to another spooky session of the Cavendish collection, or potentially super silly, with people being eaten by monsters multiple times and playing Race to the Middle of the Wriggling Mass like they did last time. I mean, who knows? But with this crew, all bets are off. Hey, why don't we do the thing where we introduce ourselves and let people know who you're playing? SJ, you're up first.
I am SJ or SJ underscore sidekick. I will be playing Vera Vincent, who is an author, writes mystery novels, so Wish.com Agatha Christie. She's recently run out of inspiration and has some writer's block, but she already spent a lot of the money that she got in advance on to do this book, so she needs to find that inspiration and find it quickly so she can actually write something and give it to the publisher. Otherwise, the publisher is going to demand it back.
Yep. And maybe your trip down to Fall River to research Lizzie Borden didn't work out very well. Maybe you found out that your rival author is just about to publish their own book on Lizzie Borden, because that's been happening for years. Yeah. Oh, well. Hey, Sen.
Hey, I'm Sin or Sinful underscore potato here on this Twitch platform of places. I am playing Dr. Etta Wells, who is an alienist or a psychiatrist, however you want to say it. Great at her job, has a fancy ring that definitely probably doesn't control monsters or will be controlled by someone of the Cavendish family if put on. Uh Definitely wasn't tackled like they were at a Black Friday sale last time we played. Just normal stuff. She's a normal person with normal sanity.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
No.
Chev.
Hey everybody, I'm Chev. I'm going to be playing. Let me know if I mess up the pronunciation on this. Kroyan Luga, alias Lucky, who is a disgraced former professional boxer who these days, ever since he was found out to be, fixing fights, and not very welcome in polite society or like any boxing ring these days. And so he's been doing some odd jobs, some protection details, bodyguarding, and that's kind of just where he finds himself today, looking for some money.
Yeah. From Mrs. Moneybags over here, who likes to have tall, buff men stand behind her during book signings for some reason. Who knows? It's all good. So, how do we bring... So I think we determined, obviously, Vera and Lucky know each other. And shall we say that in Vera's quest for inspiration has maybe connected with Dr. Wells. As a famous alienist, Dr. Wells has particular insights into the criminal mind. And perhaps you have sat with Dr. Wells a few times to pick her brain about some of the unusual cases that she has run across. Vera, would you give me a psychology? See if you can do better than the professional.
Give me my dice.
Uh-oh. I mean, you could always roll next. Crit.
Okay. That's a 65. What is the roll again?
Psychology.
Oh, 75. So made it, but
Yeah.
barely.
That's a regular success. So that first number in the 3, first number is regular success if you hit it or below. That middle number, which is 50%, if you hit that or below, it's a hard success. And if you hit that third number, which is 20% or below, it's an extreme success. 001 is always a critical. 000 or 100 is always a critical fail. unless you get a 96 or above on, and your skill is below 50, in which case that is also a critical fail. Just a reminder for everyone. So, unlike our professional psychiatrist, you right off the bat get a good read on Dr. Wells. So, two things. One is when you ask about unusual cases, Dr. Wells is being very evasive. As in, like, there's like really obvious weird stuff at the tip of her tongue, but she's not sharing it with you. And number two, Dr. Wells assiduously avoids any reference to or acceptance of even the faintest hint of anything supernatural or occult. To the extent that it just seems a little off. So there's that. That's what you know about Dr. Wells. I would make Dr. Wells to see what you know about Vera, but we all know how that role would turn out. So, hey, Dr. Wells.
Hi.
You receive I'm going to say a messenger. A orderly from Arkham Asylum. A young man named Joseph, who you probably have seen. Like, you don't hang out with the orderlies, but you recognize him. He comes to you and lets you know that there is a very unusual case that one of the other doctors that you work with will say, Dr. Yates. Someone should write these things down as I make up names, including I should probably do this. So a certain Dr. Yates, Stephen Yates, who is one of the administrators of the Arkham Asylum. This is a colleague of yours, someone who is, I think by your estimation, more of an administrator than a physician. Not as insightful or creative as you, but competent, is seeking a consultation. This particular patient has presented with a very unusual mania. They seem incapable of not writing, to the extent that they have caused themselves harm. They have caused damage to private and public property. They are most unwell, but due to the fact that the nature of their obsession is somewhat atypical, Dr. Yates thought it would be good to call you in. And given, I would say, you have made the acquaintance, if not friendship, of a famous author who is looking to observe strange things, it might be worthwhile, and it's certainly within your purview, to bring along another expert, like a professional writer, to evaluate the nature and quality of whatever it is that this afflicted person is writing. And of course, the writer would want to bring the hired muscle with them if they're going somewhere strange like an asylum. So there you have it, wrapped in a bow. What happens? Dr. Wells, we're picking up with Joseph the orderly dropping all this information on you, and then I gotta get back. What do you do?
If I don't currently know the location of Vera, I am going to go find the location of Vera.
Oh, you're probably staying. Let's say you're staying, maybe you have a house here, or maybe you have friends who have let you a house here. Vera, unless you have a better idea.
Sounds fine to me.
Cool. So yes, you have the address. Maybe you've been there for tea before. It's a short walk. The day's a little bit hot and sticky because today is a little bit hot and sticky. It's not quite full summer, but you can tell it's getting there. Everything's very, very green. So what do you do there, Dr. Wells?
Knock on the door.
Well, Lucky, could you get that?
Oh, yeah, yes, I got that. Wells, what you see as you come to the door is uh, an enormous slab of a man. He's wearing pretty like not very well fitting, not very well made clothing. Uh, kind of like either it's somebody else's or secondhand or just very cheap. But just an enormous man. Otherwise, uh, he kind of walks to the door. He's looming over the like kind of looming through the doorway as he creaks open the door and looks out. Yes, hello. We're. I don't think we were expecting anyone today. What business do you have?
Client that I am going to see, and I am requesting the assistance of, I guess, your bodyguard, guardy.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Who? Yeah. What is your name?
Dr. Etta Wells.
Lucky, if it's a fan, autographs are $1.
Yeah. Let me say. Yeah. Yeah. I have a stack here. It's $1 for each one. Like these are pages that were taken from one of the draft manuscripts of her very first novel. So like, believe me, like this is you want to get on this. But yeah, it's $1 for each signature. Do you want me? I might be able to listen. $2. I might be able to bring you in for a quick meet and greet. Like you can't say anything, but I could bring you in and just, say like, just introduce you and say, oh, you've got a fan that's visiting. So anything. I mean, if she wants to talk to you or anything, that's up to her. But a couple dollars here and there.
As wonderful as that sounds, I am actually requesting that she accompany me to the client to help assess their abilities.
Oh, okay. Hang on a second. He closes the door and locks it with a very loud click. There's some footsteps, and as Lucky is going back. Hey there, boss. No, not autograph. They say they're here to talk to you about something about like a strange situation or something like that. I don't know. Is this the kind of thing you said like to look out for?
Yes, I'm interested to hear what the strange situation is. Did they say their name?
Oh, it was Wells, Doctor
Oh, Dr.
Bells, Doctor
Wells.
Bells.
They admitted to something being strange. That's interesting.
I mean, they seemed kind of strange. Like, listen, I don't know if this is who you want to get. Like, if it was up to me, I would just send them on their way. Like, I don't know if you want to be like. I've seen a lot of weird people in this town. They're a weird person.
That's what I have you for. Weird is interesting. Interesting is what gets readers.
Okay, you're the boss. I'll go let them in. Um, Lucky goes back to the door, and on the way, he's kind of his hand is fidgeting with with something in his pocket. He has uh, uh, he's got a favorite wrench that he always brings with him everywhere. Not like a huge like monkey wrench, but the kind of thing that is useful to have in a pinch if you need something. You need some plausible deniability of a weapon. You can't just have a pair of brass knuckles. Well, a wrench is pretty fine. Somebody like Lucky has a wrench. Anyway, he's walking back to the door. He's got his hand on his weapon. Hey, listen. She'll come talk to you, but I've got my eye on you. He's unlocking the door and opening it. Come on in.
I will do so.
Vera's gonna go to her office, like the office area, to make it seem more official and everything. Like she's a very important and busy writer. She's actively typing
You
probably a shopping list.
right, you rush over like, oh, I'm really busy. I definitely don't have writer's block yet.
Lucky is taking like an extra minute or two to like make sure that Dr. Wells is like, oh, you can take your coat off here, and like I can get you some like a refreshment if you need to try and like stall for like a second or two for Vera. Now listen, the tea. I'm not one for tea myself, but like it's Vera's favorite. Yeah, I could bring you to the sitting room. You could have a cup.
Oh, no, that is quite all right.
Okay. Okay. No, just this way then. I believe, yes, I believe she's in her study. So listen, this is a rare opportunity. Many people in this town would give a lot of money to get to meet with the Vera in her study. Just saying, you know. Remember me.
I'm charmed.
Cool.
I'm just gonna be typing.
Dr. Wells just stands there silently. The end.
Lucky just
Oh,
kind of
that's-
coughs like, character turn.
Oh, Lucky, Dr. Wells. Great to see you again. Lucky was telling me you had some strange situation.
Yes. I have a client that is a fellow writer, such as yourself, and I thought that having your what is the word?
Expertise?
Yes, experience. Yes, that is it. Uh, there you would be able to help as I analyze this patient.
And what seems to be afflicting them exactly? Hopefully more than just a little writer's block. I can't say I have the most expertise in that area.
Well, it's more so the contrary. They can't seem to stop writing.
Can't seem to stop writing. And what exactly are they writing? Is it gibberish? Just a stream of consciousness?
We'll see, that's probably the answers that would come with accompanying me to go there.
All right. Well, suppose I could take a little time out of a busy schedule, give these fingers a rest. So, did you want to leave when tomorrow, next day? When would we be visiting this patient?
Today?
Oh, today. At what time?
Probably the evening.
Evening. Okay.
It's 5 p.m. right now.
So are you thinking do you mean now? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Lucky, can you start gathering my things?
Oh, at once. He's busying himself, going to the other room, grabbing some things and putting them in a case.
All right, well, let's go.
Oh, who's driving? Who has a car?
Lucky.
Oh, well, Vera certainly has a car, right? So, so you're going to take Vera's car. What kind of car does Vera have? You don't have to worry about make or model. Just like what's the jam? Is it like a sporty little coupe, ragtop situation? Is it a big like a Hollywood limousine style thing, or what's going on with it?
I think it would definitely be all black, just to fit in with the like mysterious vibe that she tries to portray, like more edgy or whatever. Almost kind of, what do you call it? The funeral cars. What do you call this?
A hearse.
Hearse.
A hearse, yeah. Um, Not a hearse itself, but kind of the aesthetic of one,
Yeah.
but definitely fancier.
Some sort of European car with, you know, silver finials and very large and stately. Cool. All right. So, this time is probably only about 20 minutes by car. And it takes probably a few minutes for Lucky to, I guess, without any sort of expectations. What kind of stuff are you, when you say you're, you know, putting some things together, what does that mean, Lucky?
Ooh, I think for the most part, grabbing his like brass knuckles and whatnot, and kind of discreetly secreting them around his person. Some writing supplies, like he's a bodyguard, not like a personal assistant, so I don't think he wouldn't know all of the things that Vera would like, all the personal bric-a-brac and all of that. But there's probably like this is probably not the first time that Vera has been called out to or has gone to visit somewhere for like writing inspiration. So I'm imagining like there's a case or there's like a pack, like some notebooks and some writing stuff to like in case the Vera needs like to write something down or take notes or something like that kind of stuff.
It's just definitely just a large bag with that's completely disorganized with a bunch of stuff thrown in it, like pens, paper, maybe some makeup, whatever, and then her coat. But it sounds better when she's like, "Oh, gather my things." She likes to.
And some pre-signed books, just in case you run into any fans.
Oh, of course.
You can fob them off on them. What is the name of Vera's most recent book that sold well but maybe didn't quite meet expectations? Just to put the pressure on.
The case of the vanishing vaudevillain.
Vaudevillian. Oh, okay.
That's how you say it. Vaudevillian. Yeah.
Okay.
One of those like not circusy things, but you know.
Yeah. Cool. So, about a group of people who tread the boards at a seaside town, and then one of them was going to run away with the other one, and then the other one showed up. It's like, where did they go? And no one knows where they went, and it was like a murder or whatever. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, it was just a little bit niche, maybe. I don't know. For some reason, I mean, it sold well, but it's not exactly expanding your readership. And I think Vera has been at this for a while. So maybe the type of cozy mystery that Vera writes, especially after the events of the past decade, you know, maybe you need to try a change in tone if you want to pick up the next generation of reader, because you have a few more good years in you, as your Hollywood agent is prone to remind you in a way that makes you sound really awful. Well, you got a few more good years before you are put out to pasture, so it's great. They're very polite down there in Hollywood. So your crocheted bag of bric-a-brac and Lucky's armory loaded up. You all pile into the whatever kind of car it is. And Lucky, out of curiosity, would you give me a navigate?
Absolutely. Ooh, that is a 48. And I have a 10. Yeah,
So-
I get so lost.
48 over 10. So Dr. Wells like gives you like super basic instructions, but like not in like a like maybe is like making notes or something like that. So not like super checked in as you like miss a couple of turns. So you find yourself leaving town, but on the wrong side of town. And eventually Dr. Wells will kind of perk up and realize that you're far off course. And it takes a while to get back. So it adds another, 30 some odd minutes to your trip. So, yes, it is dusk by the time you pull up to the grounds of the Arkham Asylum. Now, there is a facility in or near town, but this is the old Gothic asylum where the majority of the patients in Essex County are brought, and where you'll find indigent people, you'll find folks who are indefinitely institutionalized, and where extreme or unusual cases are often examined, just to keep folks out of away from the public eye. It is 3 stories, 2 wings, dark stone, lots of finials and crenellations and leaded crossed-hatched windows and gargoyles and kind of creepy, barely kept gardens. You see a few individuals in robes just kind of shuffling around a little path with a sort of stagnant pond in the center. Some sculpture, maybe it's a water nymph, maybe who knows what it is, but it's just choked in weeds and moss. It's difficult to tell what its original figure was, as the sun is now kind of dipped down below the tall trees of the forest that surrounds the asylum. You just get, occasional shafts of light reflecting off the leaded glass, dancing shadows here and there. It's actually quite lovely in its own sort of Gothic way. But there is an undertone of sadness and despair, just given its nature. We hear the crunching of the tires on gravel as the large vehicle pulls to a stop. What happens?
Listen, it happens every time I get in this car. I end up getting turned around. I tell you, the other people, like these cars, I think these cars were a mistake. Like, just give me a good old horse, or like a pedal cab, or a city car or something. Just I don't like driving in this town. I don't like it. His knuckles are like white knuckled on the wheel. Okay, we're here.
It's a great system.
Vera's gonna wait until Lucky opens the door for her.
Yeah. It takes a second. He's like, okay. He gets out. He's like, goes over and opens Vera's door, and then like waits for Vera to get fully out and shuts it, and then goes over to Dr. Wells's door.
Thank you, dear.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Wells?
Thank you, kind sir.
What happens?
Lead the way, Doctor.
Dr. Wells will then, I guess, lead the way to the... Do I know where the room is?
No. You do know where, like, intake and reception is. So this was, it is styled after a grand country home. Just to, make it seem welcoming. So as you enter, there's a big 2-story foyer, 2 beautiful dark wood staircases spiraling up. There's not a lot of adornment. Like the floor isn't like a lovely parquet or anything like that. The structure is rather grand, but it does lack a certain adornment. But at least the turned wood of the balusters is obviously very high quality. And as you move over to the left side of this grand entrance is think of it like a nurse's station and with an office behind it where, folks drop off patients or come and register as visitors, etc. You've been here before.
If there's a bell, I'm gonna go over and press the bell.
Yes. What is a good name? Yes, a nurse will kind of pop her head around. Oh, Dr. Wells, we weren't expecting you.
Yes. Sorry for the uninvited or
Oh, well,
I
you're
don't
welcome here all the time.
unexpected.
You're admitted to practice here. So,
Yes.
was there something in
I
particular
got
I can help you
a
with?
yes, I got a letter today
Oh, a
that
letter.
uh Dr. Stephen Yates requested my services.
Oh, well, you know where Dr. Yates's office, don't you? Office is, don't you? You do. Second floor, east wing. Yeah, you can go ahead and your friends, are they here with you? Or
Yes, they are going to assist in a client.
the nurse kind of gives Vera an up and down, like, because Vera, I'm sure, is dressed very nice, and then kind of gives looks askance at Lucky kind of looming there in the shadows. Okay. And then she'll just pull out from below the counter a book and spin it around and place a pen on top. You know the drill. Just sign in.
Dr. Rose will sign.
Usually people pay me for this sort of thing. Go ahead, sign.
The nurse will kind of look at you like, okay. Then you sign and she sees your name. Are you the Vera Vincent?
Of course.
I just finished The Mystery of the Vanishing Vaudevillian.
Oh, what'd you think?
Eh,
Not my best work, but
I was going to say.
well,
It
not
was
to worry.
it was a little similar to The Mystery of the Absconding Actor.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be. It's more of a themed series, similar to the Secret of the
Oh.
Speakeasy and the Secret of the Silent Cinema. They're supposed to
Oh,
have some
okay.
parallels and such.
Okay. Got it. So it's meant to be like the third of a trilogy with The Mystery of the Disappeared Diva.
Almost. It's classifying it as a trilogy is a bit of a stretch.
Because it
Uh,
did kind of seem like the same story in just slightly different theatrical settings. Maybe that's like
it's
part of
something
the
new. Other authors haven't done something like this before. Like they do their typical trilogies.
coming up with new and original work, and you're just mining the same kind of ideas over and over to get down to the goodness beneath.
You could say that. It makes it fun for the reader to see the Easter eggs, the little bits that are similar but different.
It is true. Sometimes I like knowing who the murderer is from like the second or third page. Less
Makes them
challenging.
feel smart.
Yeah. Well, it was
Oh,
a pleasure to meet you. Who is that? Pointing
I'm
at
sure.
Lucky.
Yeah. Lucky is looking kind of like surprised, and he looks as like, oh, I didn't know, like, you knew it that early. I didn't know until the page where they finally said it.
Oh, you must not have read the other ones.
And, you've got me there. Not a lot of time for reading.
Oh, okay.
This is my bodyguard, as you know, so I am fairly genuine when it comes to writing these mysteries. I get my inspiration from real life, so I am here doing research for my next book.
Oh, Into the Mind of the Murderer.
But as you know,
Oh, that would be
situations like these,
that would be
that would be
a really
really,
good title for your next book, Into the Mind of the Murderer. You can use that.
we'll see. But this is my bodyguard, because these situations you never know.
Yeah.
Life is its own mystery.
Well, it's probably wise in this particular. I mean, most of our patients are, well, heavily, heavily sedated all the time. So they don't cause much difficulty. But you never know when one of them might just snap.
Are any of them dangerous?
Oh, yes.
Like how dangerous? Like
Well,
uh
we've got three axe murderers. We've got old Mrs. Marsters who chopped up her husband into bits and baked him in a pie. And we have, I think, 2 cannibals currently. I mean, they're not currently cannibals, right? But they are cannibals and they're here currently. And then,
uh
your typical vagrants and people with alcoholic encephalopathy and, people who are just generally atypical and don't fit the mold of society. So we just lock them away. You know, women's suffragists and that kind of stuff. Although technically that's legal now, so whatever.
Bam, are you, he's kind of turned towards Vera. Are are you sure this is a good idea? Like if they're that dangerous. He said they were cannibals. Like I can punch people, but if they try to eat us, like I don't know. I don't think this is a good idea.
They can't eat us with a broken jaw. That's what you're here for.
Okay. Okay.
Besides, you
He,
said they're heavily sedated.
Yeah.
Lucky is like he kind of puts the bag like better up onto one shoulder and he kind of starts rummaging around in it like okay and he's looking for something in particular but like he's not taking it out just kind of like making sure yeah okay that's in there.
All right. Well, don't let me keep you.
Dr.
All
Wells?
right, thank you.
She just goes back into the office. Other than that, it's rather quiet. For those of you who haven't spent much time in asylums, I think you probably would have expected, well, bedlam. But even for you, Dr. Wells, who is here infrequently, but enough that you have a sense for the place, it seems quieter than usual. You might hear some echoing muttering. You probably hear the clank of a bucket and the kind of swishing slap of a mop, but from far away. It's because the rest of the building is so relatively quiet that you seem to be able to hear. You can hear the building kind of popping and creaking as the sun goes down and it begins to cool. It's rather still.
Place certainly has the mood, doesn't it?
What
I just like to
happens?
think that Eloise was already here and everybody's she gave everybody some medication.
She
So that's
overdosed them
probably
all
why
on
it's
heroin, and so they're
quiet.
all dead. Yeah, maybe. Although Eloise certainly should be here, but for different reasons. What happens?
Dr. Wells is going to lead,
Yes.
granted that they follow to the office
Yes.
and knock on the door.
This building has not yet been fit for electrics. Although, actually, no, Dr. Wells, you know that there is a room in the basement for electrotherapy. But like just for electric lights, it hasn't been completely strong. It's a very, very very, very large building. It would be just extremely expensive to fully retrofit it. So you see a janitor kind of going and lighting the gas lamps as you go up as it gets darker. But yeah, you go straight to Dr. Yates's office, knock on the door. You hear very urbane, enter.
Open the door and guide them in. Probably open the door and let Vera go in if wanted.
Upon seeing Vera, this man will stand up. He is probably in his early 50s, probably about like 30 or 40 pounds overweight, like very obviously overweight, but not like hugely so. He has that kind of horseshoe of hair on the sides with a bald pate, little kind of brass or gold rimmed glasses that as he sees a woman enter stands and kind of sets them on his desk. He has his sleeves rolled up. He's a little Vera disheveled. Like his hair is a little bit mussed. There's a few ink stains on his hand, and there's one here on the side of his mouth where he probably just absently did this and didn't realize he's got it. He just doesn't seem entirely put together. The room smells of stale cigar and cigarette smoke. There is a definite whiff of some sort of alcoholic spirit in the room. Of course, it's prohibition, but doctors have a almost limitless supply. And it's the room itself is much what you would expect of like a hospital administrator's office of the time. I mean, there's a fully articulated skeleton over in the corner, and shelves of books, and a big old grand carved wood desk, and a little cabinet with strange anatomical samples. But there's just like random stuff here and there. The books are kind of stacked up. They're not neatly organized. It's just gives you a general feel of being somewhat disheveled. But he will stand and kind of look at you, kind of as his eyes adjust. Are you in the right place? Oh, Dr. Wells.
Vera Vincent, award-winning and best-selling author, 2 feature films. She goes out, shake the hand, but then kind of retracts it, seeing
Yeah.
his hand all covered in ink and stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. He'll rub his hand on his white shirt.
Dr. Wells invited me, given my unique expertise in this area, told the patient is also a writer.
Oh, that makes sense. Yes, it's a fascinating case. Well, do come in. And he gets one look at Lucky, like, and
Yeah. Oh, don't
this
mind
is
me.
my bodyguard.
Well, we have orderlies. You don't need to worry about your physical safety here at the asylum. We haven't had an incident in weeks. So you should be perfectly safe, but it doesn't hurt to bring about a little bit of extra muscle, and he'll kind of elbow you, Lucky, in a way that's slightly uncomfortably familiar.
Excuse me, sir, but don't do that. Lucky puts a hand on his shoulder and kind of like
Just
gently
this-
but firmly like pushes him away. Like, no.
A hand like a whole ham, just lonk.
Yeah. Like he was already like halfway ducking to get through the door. Not ducking, but like he was, carefully maneuvering his shoulders and his bulk through the door, and just like, no. No.
just yeah. Oh, well, have a seat.
Lucky is standing with his like he closed the door behind him, and he's standing with his back against the door, like leaning and keeping it closed.
Or stand. Can I offer you ladies a tipple?
Well, I suppose.
Medicinal, of course.
Of course.
He'll reach into a little cabinet on the bottom of his desk and hear some clinking of glasses. He'll pull up 3 glasses and then kind of look at Lucky like,
No.
okay. And then
He's working takes his job very seriously, you know.
He'll pour a very neat 2 fingers for Dr. Wells and for Vera, and then just slosh a bunch into his own glass. And chunk. As my people say, slancha.
It's just gonna sip.
Yes. Well, so glad you could come on such short notice, Dr. Wells. It is a most fascinating case. This individual was, we thought at first, just another indigent. They were picked up by the local constabulary in Arkham for defacing public property with their scribblings. We haven't been able to ascertain their entire identity, but there are certain clues that suggest the individual might be much better educated than one would expect of the typical hobo. So we have a bit of a mystery on our hands, not only the identity of this individual, but also the nature of their particular affliction. It does seem to be a most powerful compulsion, but I must say that the output is, well, mesmerizing. You see, it's this individual appears to be fluent in 4 or 5 languages. I've been able to identify Latin, Classical Greek, Russian or something else in Cyrillic, Coptic, and a few alphabets or syllabaries that I'm not familiar with. It's unclear as to whether what they are writing is some sort of coherent narrative or just random scribblings. But just based on the pieces that we've been able to vaguely translate, it does appear that this individual is working up to something special.
Do you know if the patient was wearing any type of jewelry, like maybe a bracelet or ring?
No.
Male, female?
Male. We estimate mid-20s. Actually in reasonably good physical health. Teeth seem to be well kept. Someone who we wouldn't, frankly, if they were cleaned up, would look to fit in quite well on campus. Looks like they've been living rough, though, for, a few weeks to a month. They were absolutely filthy when they came to us. They've been distracted from the regular routine of self-care. Although clearly they have been able to feed themselves before they came to us. And will occasionally stop to eat when we bring them food, but don't seem to pay much attention to the world around them, other than their scribblings. Of particular interest, Dr. Wells, we have not yet begun any of the more invasive therapies, hydrotherapy, electrotherapy, but we did put them on a round of pharmaceuticals when they came. They appeared to have little effect. Fascinating, don't you agree?
Yes, quite.
I'm quite partial to the barbiturates myself, but they don't seem to do a lick of good for them.
Is there a record of their writings and what you've been able to translate thus far?
Oh, yes. Well, the record is in the chamber, but I've made a few copies for myself. So he will go over to a little side table and pull out a file and hand it to you. Maybe as a talented writer yourself, you'll be able to make some meaning out of this when I couldn't.
Bear's gonna start going through it.
Cool. Hey, Vera, would you give me a sanity check, please?
Uh-oh. Sanity check a normal
It's just like a skill.
roll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Percentile versus your current sanity.
85.
Ooh, that's no good. Roll a d4.
3.
Lose 3 sanity.
Off to a great start.
Yeah. So it is, well, first of all, only about a quarter of a third of it is even in Latin alphabet. So I don't think you speak any exotic languages, do you, Vera?
No, I mean, maybe Latin, because that seems like just of that time period, especially for author, you would know all those roots and stuff, but maybe not fluent in it.
Yeah. You could make a hard English check.
Hard English check.
It'd be under language's own.
Got it. Okay. Oh, good. I am actually.
You should be really good at this, but you have to hit a
really
hard, so you have to hit that middle number or the half.
Gotcha. 27. What did I? Where did it go?
Pretty sure you hit the hard.
I hit half.
Yeah.
half. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not fifth.
Yeah. So precisely that. You do recognize some of the words, like you kind of are able to piece it together. Like you don't know like Latin conjugation or anything like that, but you're able to recognize some of the roots and kind of piece together what individual words mean. You probably also recognize that there are some words in French just because of the word construction. You've seen French even though you don't speak it. There are words that you probably think might be some dialect of German. And then there's a lot of stuff that's not even in Latin alphabet. I'm sure you know what Cyrillic looks like. So you would recognize that. But you probably wouldn't recognize liturgical Coptic. You probably wouldn't recognize like Arabic. Well, you might recognize what it is, but you certainly wouldn't read it. But that's not the thing. So it's as your rational mind is kind of latching on to individual words, your irrational mind is latching on to something different. There is something here. Like, even though you don't understand it, even though like these could just be like over half this could just be random scratchings, right? You just have the strongest intuition that if this was comprehensible, it would be compelling. It would be a page turner. It would be a career maker. You start to think, oh, can you imagine some sort of mad literary genius? You wouldn't even have to claim it as your own. You could be the conduit, the muse, if you would. The person. Oh, well, I mean, it's not at all unheard of for great authors to create themselves as characters in their works. I mean, Doyle did it with John Watson, right? It's like you're starting to formulate this idea of, oh, well, what if there were some sort of somewhat mad academic who was a prodigy at solving mysteries, and you could insert yourself in a pseudo-autobiographical frame as their assistant, the only person who could decipher their mad writings. Like you're just your creative mind that has been blocked these past months is suddenly just tingling with not only ideas, but novel ideas. Ideas that would never have occurred to you before, but that seem innovative. Very different from the 5th iteration of some actor disappearing. So as Vera pores over these pages, what's happening?
I think Lucky is looking around the room. Like, he's not really there for the academic stuff. So, it doesn't really matter to him what's on the pages or anything, but he's taking a look around the room while Vera is, engrossed in the manuscript. I guess mostly just looking for anything that's standing out as weird. Like, I guess not looking for anything in particular, but he's just on the lookout for just, is there anything like here? This is a weird place for him.
Yeah, you can spot hidden, or you can psychology. Your choice.
Ooh, I think probably spot hidden.
Okay.
Oh, that is a 72 over 40.
Yeah, it's pretty dim in here. I'm going to say that the doctor pulls out a cigar and lights it and begins puffing on it. So the room is quickly filling with a haze of cigar smoke, which probably makes your eyes sting a bit, makes it difficult to make out the corners. But even with a fail, I will say your gut instinct is that something's off. You're out of your element, but this is a combination of the appearance of the room, the appearance of the individual, and his affect suggests something is off.
Mm.
Can I spot hidden?
Sure. You don't want a psychology?
I mean, I could do that too.
I mean, it's always worth a try.
That's it.
You only have like a 90 or something in it.
Yeah. Do a psychiatry.
Do a not psychoanalysis, because that's the long-term kind of therapeutic practice, but just straight psychology. And then maybe on the basis of that, you might want to make a spot hidden too.
That's a. Oh no, that's worse. Whoops. Yeah, it's a 94 over 75.
This guy is perfectly sane. There is nothing wrong with him at all. He's acting a little bit different than you remember him, but you are not worried about it at all. It's fine. It's just your blind spot to all things weird, which is not problematic for a psychotherapist at all. So yeah.
Yep.
It's all good. I think you probably don't even notice that Vera's attention to these random scribblings is a little bit intense.
Anything that's going on, I'm not here. I'm so focused
Yeah.
on.
Dr. Wells, you're probably just reviewing the medical records. You know, height, weight, all the checks for any other kind of comorbidities. Seems fine. Maybe a little bit underweight,
Also,
but other than that, you go through the kind of medical checklist and he seems completely fine.
also in terms of whatever Vera's doing, Dr. Wells is probably just like, that's probably just what she does. Probably normal.
Yeah, totally fine. You come to the end of the pages, Vera. What happens?
This is absolutely extraordinary. There's some French, some German, Latin, all these languages. If it was just, it's a little incoherent. If I could just really figure out what they're trying to say and convey. Could I get a copy of this? If I had more time with it, maybe.
No, he says, and then snatches the folder from your hands. I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
This is part of the patient's medical records, which of course means they have to be kept confidential.
Oh, I'm being brought on as a. Help me out here, Dr. Wells. What would you call me? I'm helping the doctor here. I
Yes.
need access to those.
And you certainly can have access to them in my office. What if one
Sir.
of these pieces was the key to unraveling the mystery and restoring this poor young man to mental health?
Exactly why I said a copy and not the original.
And sir, I believe you said earlier that that was a copy.
But it's my copy.
Okay, well, can I have a copy of your copy?
That sounds like a persuade.
Oh, shit. I don't have a good persuade. Nope.
Can Lucky, like he's standing there, he's at the door.
Yeah.
Can I be intimidating, like behind Vera, like I guess wherever she's standing or sitting, and like, you know, while she was looking over this stuff, like I want to come up behind her and just be like, just really try and flex my intimidation, flex my presence.
Okay, so that can work one of two ways. Narratively, you're helping, and therefore that could provide Vera with a bonus die, which just means you re-roll the 10 and take the lower. Or you can simply attempt to intimidate Lucky.
Ooh.
I think attempting to intimidate is probably the way to go because
Mathematically, maybe.
I have a 10 in persuade.
Well,
I'm better at intimidating than I am persuading.
Well, I mean, that is another thing that you could do. You could push the roll, sort of. But in this case, so you can always push a roll. We can't push sanity rolls and combat rolls, but whenever you have a chance in the narrative to kind of redouble, change approach, pull something else in, like try harder, basically. As long as you can justify that you're trying harder, you can roll again. I think in this case, it might be that you switch from trying to be persuasive to just, being who you are. And that Lucky picking up on this maybe is lending a little bit of like literal muscle to that attempt. So you could attempt to push the roll, and this one would be with a bonus die, but the consequence of failure on a pushed roll is significant.
It's up to you, SJ. Like I figured this is your scene, so however you want to go with it.
So I can roll twice to intimidate, or this would be my second roll, but doing intimidate.
I'm going to say if you switch to intimidate, it's not quite a pushed roll because it's not the exact same roll, but it's close enough. Like you can literally keep this flow and then go, actually, I'm going to switch over to intimidate. I'm just going to force my will on him. And at that point, Lucky's assistance will also chime in. So you would roll again, but with 2 die, take the lower on intimidate.
Okay. Oh, well, 10. So unless I get a 0. Nope, that's a 50.
Cool.
And then 9. So 19.
Which is what kind of success?
I will let you know as soon as... Half, because 14 would have been a fifth.
Okay. Well, if you wanted to, you could spend a little bit of luck to kick it down to an extreme success. You don't have to, but you could.
But what is this extreme success going to look like? That's the question.
It would look like better stuff for you. It would look like a better
Alright.
result.
Maybe you get more pages. Like maybe he gives you like some extra pages.
All right, how much luck is it again?
You just have to spend enough to hit that threshold for extreme success.
Oh, okay. So
which I think
5
is like
luck.
yeah, so it's a small amount.
Okay. Sweet.
So and how do you switch from trying to be persuasive to trying to be intimidating? What do you say?
Kind of stand up and I'm like, is there a reason you don't want this young man to get better and have my expertise in it? I find that quite strange. I'm actually starting to get some inspiration for another book, maybe even nonfiction this time.
Threatening publicity. Cool. He had you pegged completely wrong. And probably wouldn't have shown you the papers in the first place if his read on you was, not doddering old lady, but just like, oh, how cute an author or whatever. They don't know anything. But you show a little bit of steel, and then, Lucky looms forward a little bit, and he realizes that maybe this was the wrong tack to take. Look, I'm just trying to protect the patient. I have a duty to ensure that my patients are not disturbed and are receive the appropriate care. I'm sure we're all very grateful for your help, Miss Vincent. I'm not trying to prevent you, and certainly have no desire to feature in one of your writings. Here, he will go over to a painting in his office, and will kind of look behind him and he's not a very tall man, but he'll try to make himself a little bit bigger so you can't see exactly what he's doing. But he's fiddling with that painting, and you hear it click, and then he swings it open, and then just kind of like puts one hand up, and you hear the turning of a tumbler, and then a clank, and then he cranks open this in case of fire. He opens it up, and then we'll pull out a sheaf of paper. Here.
Oh, thank you. Amazing what we can accomplish when we're all working together for the benefit of all.
Yes. Besides, you won't get anything from copies.
She notes that. It's a little weird that he would say that, because why would the copies be different? But she just is glad she's getting the actual stuff.
So what happens?
Well, I think we should see the patient now, shouldn't we? Lucky, could
Right.
you... Well, actually, maybe I'll just hold on to these.
And I tried to read the doctor again after hearing the comment about the copies.
Yes, but I'm going to say with a penalty die.
Okay. I keep thinking the 90 is a 60, but it's not. It's the same.
Oh, no. You're like, maybe he's overworked. It's fine. There's a lot going on in Dr. Wells's head. Probably wondering what happened to Drusilla when you freed that demon to go back and kill her. You haven't heard yet. So perhaps Dr. Wells is distracted. Anyway.
What is Dr. Wells' sanity at?
What is your sanity at, Dr. Wells?
73.
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
Oh, what? Mine's at 50.
Well, yeah.
Well, now it's at 45
Yeah.
or 47. Yeah,
Yeah.
47.
Let's put it this way. None of y'all are Eloise. I think Eloise's sanity is like 20 something. So it's fine. Yeah, something clear. Vera, something clearly weird is going on in this situation. But yes, you hold on to that sheaf of papers. It is in fact bound with string. And even without like examining it closely, you can see it's probably 50-ish pages, but the paper types are different. So it's not like someone sat down with like a ream of paper and made copies. It probably happened over time, or potentially multiple people. But that's just what you notice. And the paper's a little grubby. Like there's like fingerprints, smudges on it. So clearly it's kind of been handled. You're probably a little fastidious with your own manuscripts. And this has been roughly handled, or just kind of feels dirty.
Right, which is also why I don't want to put it in the bag, make it even worse than it is.
Yes.
Lucky had been like holding open the bag for Vera to like stuff it into, and then he sees that she's like putting it into her own own like. Do you have it like I guess like a handbag or whatever? But then he just closes it.
Cool. Well, I have things to do. Dr.
Of course.
Wells,
Us as well.
our patient is in the tower room. You know that is, don't you? I think you do.
Yes.
Just grab one of the orderlies. Tell them to let you in. Just don't tire or disturb the patient. He probably won't even pay attention to you or notice that you're there. But I just recommend observing, not interfering. He seems to get distressed when we prevent him from doing what his compulsion demands. And I certainly wouldn't want a patient's self-harm on my conscience. Well, it's been a pleasure, he says, with a face that says it has not been. And then just goes and kind of reaches behind him and randomly picks up a book and pretends to read it. It's upside down and eventually turns it around. Many important things to do. You see yourselves out. What happens?
I will guide the group to the room.
Yes. We'll say that you run into young Joseph the orderly, who sees you and will step up. Oh, good, glad you could come, Dr. Wells. Have you met with Dr. Yates?
Yes. We just left from his office, and while you are here, can you accompany us to the room to see the patient?
Of course. Dr. Wells, I hope you don't think this is impertinent, but how did Dr. Yates seem to you?
Oh, he seemed fine.
Fine.
Probably a bit stressed out.
Oh,
That's how he always is.
well, I suppose stress. His job is very stressful. I suppose that probably explains it.
Yes.
He does not look convinced.
Looks like he's been sleeping in his office for the past week.
He says, I have a 25 psychology and I know something's up, so it's all right. I mean, you're the expert. Yeah, this way. Did he there's the patient doesn't seem to be dangerous, at least not to anyone else. Just don't attempt to stop them from writing.
Oh, I would never.
All right. How long do you think you'll be? My shift is due to end in about an hour. Shall I simply come and retrieve you then? Will that be sufficient time for you to make your observations?
Hard to tell. You could check in on us then, though.
I'll do that. And then if you need more time, I can let my relief know. All right, this way. Leads you kind of the length of the second floor up to the third, over to one of the ends of the front part of the building, and then up a spiral staircase into one of these grand kind of turrets that you saw from outside. The door is locked, and he does unlock it, but it's not a particularly reinforced door. Like, it doesn't have bars or anything on it. It just seems like a normal heavy wooden door. He opens it up, and because you are up higher, and because there's a clear story, is that the right word? There's a series of high windows in this turret room that are catching the evening light. The room seems a lot brighter, especially as you step out of this kind of dark, winding staircase. And every surface is just covered in scribblings. There are piles of paper. And as the orderly opens the door, lets you in, it's like, we try to keep up with paper, but he's so fast. And then when we run out, he starts on the walls. The doctor said we should just leave him be. He has been spending a lot of time in here, though. The doctor, I mean, telling us to keep out, that he's got it, and not to disturb his observations. But as you said, Dr. Wells, I'm sure it's just stress.
Yes, probably just stress.
All right. Oh, that reminds me. He'll go in and kind of go over to one of the corners where there's just like strewn sheafs of paper. Pick them up, trying in some way to like keep them in rough order in terms of like keep the ones that are on top. But you can tell as you watch Vera, he's mixing some of them up. He'll just grab kind of an armful of paper. I need to take these back to the doctor.
Oh, you can leave those here. I need to go through them anyway, and I'd rather not bother Dr. Yates again. We can bring them by when you come back.
All right.
He's already given me copies, as you could see, of his
Oh.
previous writings.
All right. Well, just don't disturb them. Here, I'll slip these by the door.
Of course.
All right. So I'll be back in an hour. All right. He leaves, and you hear the door lock behind you. What happens?
Well, interesting they give this patient a sharp implement, isn't it?
Well, if all he's doing is writing, then, I guess.
Wonder if
he's
they
too
would
busy
write on a
writing to do anything else with
typewriter.
it.
We should come back tomorrow and test that. Be much easier to understand what they're writing.
Is there what is the lighting situation in here? Like, is it like electric or not electric? Like gas lights, candles?
I would say the gas lamps have been lit, but there's still, because of the 360 surround windows, most of the light is ambient from outside, although it is rapidly dimming. It's been a very clear day, and you can see a few pink and orange clouds in the darkening blue sky through the second story windows. To be clear, the room is 2 stories tall on the interior, but there is no second story. There's no like loft or whatever. There's just a kind of institutional bed. There is a desk and chair. both of which are covered in writing. The sheets of the bed, the posts of the bed, even the individual's loose clothing is covered in writing. They are currently standing on the bed, reaching up high. And you hear a very faint muttering as they talk to themselves as they write.
Vera, boss, are you sure this is a
Yes.
good idea?
Oh, it's an excellent idea. I'm already getting massive amounts of inspiration. Actually, I'm going to look over some of these papers.
I mean,
So-
do you need more? I mean, I could give you like if you wanted copies, right? I mean, we've got plenty of paper here.
I wish I had more time. It's going to take me far longer than an hour to copy all of this. I would have you do it, but your handwriting is atrocious.
Yeah.
No offense.
Hold on a second. Lucky is going to reach into the bag and grab a pad of paper that Vera Vincent's like standard, like travel journal kind of deal. And he's gonna take it out. He's gonna come up behind the person as he's like writing. And Lucky opens the notebook, and kind of puts it like up against the wall next to where the person is writing, and is just gonna like hold it there and hope that the guy recognizes like, oh, fresh writing surface.
Excellent idea, Lucky.
100% just the writing continues on the wall and then moves directly onto the paper, and then he very quickly grabs the pad and then turns around and then sits cross-legged in the middle of the bed and just head down, hair shaggy, hanging into the face a little bit, cheeks a little bit sunken, eyes a little bit sunken, as you noted, Dr. Wells, on the physical examination, maybe slightly malnourished, obviously very thin, but handsome. The Dr. Yates wasn't wrong when he said that with a few good meals, this would pass for an undergraduate at Miskatonic very easily. Seems well formed. The eyes are probably brighter than they ought to be, in that kind of intense, feverish way, but seem intelligent. And just without really acknowledging you, Lucky just grabs the pad and begins writing.
Lucky is standing like kind of like near the bed, not like hovering over his shoulder, but kind of trying to put himself between this guy and Vera and Dr. Wells.
Cool. What happens?
But for now, Vera's going to go over the papers that are there. And since she isn't, there's no way she's going to have enough time to copy everything, but she could at least take notes
Cool.
of things that are.
So that's one person who's actually looking at the writing. Give me another sanity check there, Vera.
God, 87.
Roll me another d4.
2.
Okay.
Now it's at 45.
Yeah. And you need to lose 10, right, to hit your indefinite
Yes.
insanity. Cool. So you're halfway to indefinite
Oh,
insanity.
God.
That's
I
awesome.
did not know that. I thought that meant I go to 10. No, if I lose 10, okay.
Yeah.
I'm caught up now.
You're halfway to indefinite insanity. That's awesome.
Great.
This is like it doesn't make any more sense, right? Like you're looking at pages of what might as well be gibberish, but there 100% is like as you look at, as you spread these pages out in front of you, you start to feel like there are connections. Like you start to feel like this isn't one story, it's 10 stories or 100 stories that are all like chopped into bits and mixed up, but like, oh, it's like this narrative here connects to this one. And since this isn't copied, you can see that there are subtle variations in the handwriting, not just the characters themselves, but angle and pressure, etc. It seems almost like if you had a pair of scissors, you could chop out different sections of text and paste them together. The
Does
part,
it correspond to the languages at all? Like, do like the German ones go together, the French ones go together, or is it just purely based on how the handwriting is?
it's broadly yes, but there are other degrees of connection between them. Like you're the part of your mind, the part of your brain that is very adept at crafting and focusing on mysteries begins to think, oh, it's a simple, like if you took all the German together, it would, but there's like, even within the German script, it doesn't seem to be just one thing.
Okay.
I think after a couple minutes, Lucky would also start to get pretty bored, and he would also like start to look over this guy's shoulder, trying to see like, hey, what are you writing?
Okay, give me a sanity check.
43 under 50.
Okay. It's all gibberish to you. But as you look over, it's kind of awkward because he's on the bed. So as you're trying to kind of get an angle on it, the young man actually shifts a little bit and kind of angles the notebook so that you can see it better.
Oh. I think Lucky misinterprets that. And he's going to lean forward a little bit. And when this guy gets to the end of the page, either that or like the first time that he pauses for even a little bit, Lucky is going to try and grab back the notepad.
Ooh. Okay. Go ahead and give me a fighting brawl. It doesn't mean that you're like trying to attack him, but this is the skill that you're using. It's going to be contested.
Yeah. That is an extreme success. That is a 4, and my extreme success is a 15.
Awesome. So you just, as soon as he finishes that page and goes to flip it up, you just like a snake striking, snatch it out of his hands. And he doesn't react particularly well to that. Like at all. And a couple of things happen. One, I need everyone to give me a sanity check.
$42. Made it this time.
Cool.
59 over 50.
Okay. Dr. Wells.
49 under 73.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, this is gonna get super weird. So Vera and Dr. Wells, go ahead and give me a D4. Lucky, go ahead and give me a D8. Okay, 3 more. So you're 2 away from me.
Oh no!
I got a 4.
Okay, cool.
Just 1 point.
Just 1 point. That's good. I just had to give you a chance of hitting that 5 in one go and having a bout of temporary insanity, but you're good. You're good. You're mostly, I think, anticipating some sort of act of physical violence. But something about the disruption and like as you were watching him, right? It's almost like whatever it is he's muttering, you don't understand it, but it's almost like his hand is struggling to keep up. Like his hand is a page or two behind where his mouth is. You just get this intuitive sense. And something about that disruption of his ability to keep up really upsets this young man. And he begins to, he throws himself back on the bed and begins shouting. It's not particularly loud, but one, you're all fairly certain that this shouting is multiple words at the same time. It sounds not different voices. It sounds like it's his voice, but speaking multiple words simultaneously as he kind of throws himself back on the bed and arches up and begins shouting. There is a change in the pressure in the room. Like you can hear popping from the windows, and the gas lamps kind of dim like by half, so it gets much darker in here. And not anywhere you're looking, but out of the corner of your eye, you see like ants crawling on the walls and floor and any open space, as every surface that isn't written on begins to be covered in this scrawl. I'm going to say, Lucky, you look down and you can see almost like crawling out of the inscribed floor as letters appear around your feet, and they work their way onto your shoes, and then they start to work their way up your pant leg.
Ooh.
What happens?
Vera screams and goes for the locked door. Very upset once she realizes it's locked.
Yeah.
Lucky jumps onto the bed and starts grabbing and trying to like physically restrain this guy.
Yeah, he's not super strong. It's very, very easy.
Mm-hmm. And he's trying to like
Vera is yelling for the orderly.
Okay. Give me a listen, Vera.
A listen?
Yeah.
Flat 40. Nope.
Okay.
It's 20.
Okay.
Can't hear it over the sound of my own screaming.
Yeah. And what are you doing, Lucky?
Oh, I was trying to like clamp my hand over his mouth to try and get him to stop yelling whatever this weird nonsense is.
So go ahead and give me another fighting brawl.
54 under 75, so regular.
Cool. You guys got the exact same roll, in fact, but he fails because he is not a fighter. Yeah, you do. You clamp over his mouth. It's not enough to, obviously not enough to block his airway and suffocate him, but enough to stop. And he mumbles like twice, and then realizing the words aren't getting out, he just stops trying and then locks eyes with you, Lucky. Lucky, would you give me a hard power roll?
Absolutely. Oh, That's not very good. That's an 80. My power is 50.
Okay. Give me another sanity too, by the way. Actually, why don't everyone give me another sanity? Because this is about to make it worse.
44. Oh, God. It would have passed last time. Can we like major boon or
Yeah.
minor boon or something? Because
Minor
I'm going to
boon
go
is
crazy.
minor
any
boon is
second.
-10. Major boon is reroll
Okay,
up to both.
perfect.
So you want a minor boon it?
I will do the minor, yeah.
Cool.
I'm sure Zero wouldn't say no if he used a major bane.
You could do that too.
Just make this all worse.
No.
31 under 49.
Okay. And now, and that's good because you made it. You don't have to make the intelligence check. So, I'm going to say Lucky loses a point of sanity. What'd you get on your sanity roll there, Dr. Wells?
38 under 69.
Oh yeah. You're fine. But for Vera and Dr. Wells, no sanity loss. This is just a continuation kind of the same thing. So no additional sanity loss. But Lucky, you're going to take 1 point of sanity. As when he stares at you, you feel there's no other word to describe it but inspiration. Like you literally, as the force of whatever it is behind his stare just makes you stop as suddenly something enters you. Now, Lucky is the one chanting, shall we say. The young man that you've been holding down just collapses and like immediately falls unconscious. And Lucky, it takes you maybe a few seconds to realize that your mouth is going. Like, who's still talking? It's like, oh, it's me. And you have a overwhelming desire to get something out of you. You can make a check of some sort. It could be intelligence. It could be occult. It could be psychology, maybe. I'm willing to entertain any kind of role that you think would give you insight into what's going on inside you at the moment.
Yeah. Well, so I think here's the thing is that so I think he's flashing back to the times when he used to be fairly religious. He's flashing back to like memories of like the like saying the rosary, saying his prayers that the priest at his church would tell him to do after confession. Like, so he's kind of like that's where he's going again. He's reciting like the Lord's Prayer in his head and like just kind of like mouthing the words a little bit, trying to use that to focus on.
So what kind of role do you think would be appropriate?
Oh, is there? I don't think there's a straight up like religion role. So maybe
Could be a hard knowledge.
yeah, I was gonna say occult, but that doesn't really fit. But knowledge seems.
I mean, occult for sure fits, but it may not fit with what the character would do, but it certainly fits the circumstance. But yeah, a hard knowledge would make sense to me.
Yeah, 1 second. Where's?
It's in the top with the characteristics or attributes.
Oh, it's up. Got it. Is that? Oh, that's edu. Okay, I see.
Education, I mean, yeah. A no role, which is based on education. Which you're not the most educated, but it's a decent stat.
That's a 61 over 25.
Okay. You try to ground yourself in these familiar memories, but in your memories, the priest is speaking in tongues, just as you are. All your memories that you try to conjure to center yourself are infected. You have very vivid recollections of, kneeling in a pew, looking at, or standing, looking, singing, looking at a hymnal. But instead of the ordinary printed word, it's this same polylingual scrawl. You are surrounded by people singing hymns. They said that each one of them is taking one of these threads of this articulation that's flowing out of you. You can feel your grip on yourself and reality growing weak, being replaced by this all-consuming compulsion to get whatever this is out of you. I will say, even though not a successful roll, this is going somewhere. This isn't just, you are caught up in a process that has a definite end. And bringing about that end is the source of the compulsion. And I think your sense is it's close. What happens? Dr. Wells
I'm gonna
panning the
shoot
door. Dr. Wells, you're going to go over and join Vera and try to get through the door?
Yeah, I want to shoot the lock.
You're pulling your gun. Okay.
You have to get me out of the way.
No, Dr. Wells is going to just start shooting people. It's like, well, we're done here. Boom, boom. So, Dr. Wells, how are you going to... Because, Vera, you're freaking out, right? Vera? You're still...
Oh, I'm absolutely freaking out. Yes, I'm full panic, just completely in vain.
Yes. So in order
Struggling with
to
the door,
shoot the
screaming
lock,
for the orderly.
yeah, in order to shoot the lock, Dr. Wells, you're going to have to do something about Vera, who is currently holding on to the door handle, madly pulling on it, shouting at the top of her lungs. What do you do?
Very politely, yet not politely at all, try to pull her off so that I can
Okay.
shoot the door.
So you choose violence. Hey, why don't you two give me contested fighting brawl? The number here is less important than the degree of success. So
Mine says 1d3.
that is your damage bonus, I think. No. Oh no!
How do I roll?
That's the damage if you're trying to punch each other. This is literally like grappling.
Oh, brawl check. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, just a regular skill check.
Yeah, it's just
94. So I think you need to roll.
Well, you never know. If you both fail, it could be a stalemate. What'd you get there, Dr. Wells?
92.
I'm gonna say you're both just in a bit of a
Panicked. Yeah.
push and shove, not making any progress. Lucky, what are you doing? You're still saying you're still yourself, but it's just that your awareness is somewhat altered and expanded. But you have full agency. So what do you do? Lucky. Lucky.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to Wells.
No.
Yeah. So I think like after realizing that that's not working, he all he really knows is violence. I guess like that's just the language he speaks. So he's going to start. He's going to like he was like let me see. He was on the bed, kind of grappled and looked like face to face with this guy who was shouting. Then he did the glossolalia thing. I think he would start grabbing the guy by the shoulders and shaking him, like while he's still repeating this like all of this stuff that's pouring through him, and trying to like do whatever that guy did, just to, like, I don't know, do the same thing, do it back, just look into his eyes and maybe it'll go back into him.
Yeah, you shake this guy a little bit. He is out of it. I mean, you can tell he's breathing, but he is totally unconscious. He basically, the instant whatever this was passed to you, he passed right out.
Yeah.
So you
In that
shake him
case-
pretty hard and no effect. But you do see Dr. Wells and Vera struggling with the door.
Lucky jumps off the bed and runs towards Dr. Wells.
Okay. To do what?
Like grabbing at Wells at the shoulder, turning Wells around as like strong as he can, and like holding him by the shoulder and like looking straight into Wells's eyes as he's, you know, still spewing all of this nonsense and these overdubbed words.
Cool. How about Lucky and Dr. Wells give me contested power rolls?
$91 over 50.
So that's a fail. Dr. Wells?
What does 0, 0 mean again?
000 is 100, which is a critical fail.
No, but like, I got 003.
That's a 3, which is a extreme success, I think.
Yeah.
So you got an extreme success.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So Dr. Wells isn't having it. I think Dr. Wells, who is subconsciously extremely averse to anything supernatural or occult, is just not having it. Like full on denial. And it is a steel curtain of denial that just doesn't let whatever weird mojo Lucky is trying get in. So you're stuck with it for now, Lucky. Dr. Wells, Vera, what are you doing? Or what is anyone doing? You guys are all clumped up next to the
Banging
door.
on the door, still screaming for this orderly to come back and let us out.
So far, no one has come, and you missed the listen roll, so you don't know why. Hey, Lucky.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, let me check our status.
Or maybe I'll scream for Lucky to get the door open.
I think that sounds like a really good idea.
He's stronger than me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not even processing that he's speaking gibberish. I'm
Yeah.
just, I'm my own screaming.
I think you hear Vera, Lucky, get the door open, get us out of here. And the part of you that is fully under your own control hears that, and the part of you that isn't also hears that. And both parts really like the idea. Because
I
used
hear
to major
Lucky
bang.
door and I like zero in on it.
Yes, I will give you a bonus die because both sides of your consciousness are fully on board with getting out of this room.
But that's an extra D10, right?
An extra D10 and then take the lowest.
Okay.
And this is going to be just a strength roll.
Okay, so that first one was a 26. I'm re-rolling this. Wait, is it the tens dice or the?
We roll the tens.
Yeah. Okay. What did I say? 26.
Yeah.
That one was a 90, so 26 stands.
Okay, cool. Which is for you a hard success, I think.
I think is it brawl again or is it?
There's just strength.
Oh, just strength. Yeah, that's a half, but not a fifth.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it takes a little bit of battering. Well, first of all, it takes just manhandling Vera and Dr. Wells out of the way so that you can put a shoulder against the door, all the while you're gibbering. And after probably the third strike, the door booms open. And what happens? You guys go running?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Lucky is looking for the first person that he can find who he could try and get this out of him into. And so like he like as soon as he kicks open the door and it like slams against the wall, he's already gone. He is
You're
going
just
for the
running.
stairs. He's going
Cool.
down.
And you're fast. You're much more physically skilled
Yeah, Vera's
than
like, wait for me.
Vera and Dr. Wells.
I'm
So
bodyguard.
so Vera and Dr. Wells notice that as Lucky just takes off running, um, and you're standing here in the doorway, you can see all the words just flow out of the tower room, across the lintel of the door, up the walls and ceilings, like a wave following Lucky as he continues this. Yes.
Yeah. I think I see all of the words, and that's partly like I'm running to find someone and I'm running away from those words.
Yeah.
Like the more they come out of the room, the more like if I look around and I see that they're coming towards me on the walls, I'm keeping going.
Cool. Give me a Constitution. This isn't exactly a chase, but I'm curious about how fast you're able to go.
That is a 2. And so that's an extreme.
Yes, you are able to actually stay ahead of the words. And you barrel down the stairs and head toward, I don't know, somewhere that you had passed, like you had seen, some orderlies kind of posted up, just like watching and reading comic books or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you head in that direction, and as you run forward, you see a couple of heads pop out of that little room, and you recognize one of them as Joseph, the orderly from before, and they look at you kind of like, huh, and then like there's just enough time for them to kind of look at each other and go, this guy doesn't seem right. Like one of them is reaching for his truncheon because you look super cray. But anyway, but yeah, you're able to beat the words to them.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Oh, I think I see the heads poking out. I see them looking like at each other. I see one of them going for a side. By the time they get to their truncheon, Lucky is at the doorway. He's sticking like half of his body through the door before they can get it closed. He's reaching through. He's going for the face that he remembers, Joseph, and he's like looking straight into Joseph's eyes.
Cool. Let's do another opposed power.
That's a 27.
Which is what kind of success?
Oh, extreme, not extreme, the hard success.
Okay.
Wait. 20. No, sorry, it's a regular success.
Regular success. I'm going to use another major bane. It works, sort of. Because he is not prepared for whatever this is that you're just forcing out on him. But it works a bit too well. You can feel whatever this inspiration is start to flow out of you into him. You see his eyes widen and brighten as this same sense of awareness blossoms on his face. His friend has no idea what's going on, but clearly this is some sort of patient, giant, super swole patient attacking an orderly. So things are about to get weird with him. But this sense of this building toward a crescendo, like even in the few moments between when you tried to force this into Dr. Wells, it's more powerful than it was before. And as it starts to infect him, as he starts to chant along with you in that moment, the look of illumination on his face turns to horror as he begins to unravel. Dr. Wells and Vera, how close were you following Lucky? At best speed, or were you?
Depends. Well, when I see the words following him, my next instinct is to not run the same direction as this anymore. Is there any offshoots or no?
Oh yeah, there's a whole other wing. You're on the third floor.
I'm gonna go down away from the words, and Lucky, who is now seemingly possessed by whatever is going on. I want nothing to do with that. He is on his own. Big boy bodyguard. He's got it.
You can find another Lucky. We're a dime a dozen.
Right. So no one is there to witness so you're holding the shoulders of this young man, Joseph, and it starts with his ears and eyes. He just begins to, fall to pieces or curl open as if he's transformed bit by bit into this script. He goes from being this solid figure to being just this skein of words in human form that slowly, as you continue, and he, as long as he can, continue this rapid fire chant, every word, every syllable peels off of him physically, until he is reduced to a pile of words that then crawl along the floor and up the walls to set themselves into this very structure. Hey, when the other orderly goes to bash you over the head, would you like to fight back? Would you like to dodge?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I think he's a heavy guy. He's a boxer. This guy is a little guy. He would not think this
this
is worth
is an
dodging.
orderly. He's a big dude, and he's armed.
Okay.
He's
In
not
that
as
case,
big
yeah, I
as
think
you.
he would-
You're a giant, but
Yeah, in that case, if he's a big guy, like a big, strong orderly, I think his instincts would kick in and he would try to dodge.
okay. Roll it up.
That is a 52, which is definitely under my, it's a regular success.
Cool. He's actually gonna land the blow because he initiated and you tied. So you're gonna take three points of damage as he goes to conk you on the head, but it really just hits one of your meaty shoulders. It's the kind of thing that's gonna be a bruise.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
So Vera's running off all by herself in a random direction. Dr. Wells, what are you doing?
Dr. Wells is taking a leisurely stroll, following the words,
Okay, so
following where Lucky had gone.
So you probably arrived just in time to watch this orderly try to crack Lucky over the top of the head and miss. Are you going to do anything once you get down there? Lucky is still chattering.
Mhm.
Probably pull out the gun and aim to fire.
At?
Like, between the two, if, like, something comes out of Lucky that's not, like, because Dr. Wells has seen some weird stuff in the
That's
past bit, so if there's, like, a black mass that comes out of Lucky, she's gonna try to shoot at it.
Okay. So you're not targeting the orderly or Lucky. You're prepared to defend yourself against something weird. Got it. Cool. Vera, would you give me navigate? I think with a setback die, because you're kind of freaked out and you're in an unfamiliar setting.
"82 was the worst one.
Yeah. You get hopelessly turned around.
For fun, what was my navigate anyway? Oh, 10. So
Yeah.
I don't think I was faking.
You're hopelessly turned around. Like you very intentionally don't take those stairs down to the second floor, but then you are having a hard time finding other stairs. And the words are continuing to spread. Like there have been like maybe we rejoin you as you like finally find another set of stairs going down. And then as you do, you can see these words spreading on the walls and up the stairs and up the banister toward you.
Nope.
You go
Keep
back.
running wherever there aren't words.
Okay, so you're headed back. You're on the 3rd floor, so you're headed to the furthest extent of the, what would that be, the east wing. Just making your way, occasionally turning back and seeing as the words begin to spread. Probably feels like they're chasing you. Hey, I think that's worth another sanity check.
I don't know about that one. I'm gonna need another. I'm gonna need a major boon for that one, actually.
Oh.
Major boon is you reroll the big die.
Up to both.
Okay, we'll go 3 on the small one. So, okay, 0-3.
Okay. Your desire for self-preservation has taken over any concerns you might have about what exactly is happening. You're just like, I just got to get away from it.
I'm just gonna use all these boons just so you guys know. Anytime I have to make a sanity check.
It's all good. What? Indefinite insanity is fun.
I'm 2 away.
I know, right? Cool. Hey, Lucky Dr. Wells, what are you doing? It's been a minute since you did something, Lucky. The guy just tried to conk you. It hurt.
Yeah, I hurt. It hurt. So like the two things going through his head are like fighting. I just got hurt, and the kind of residual background horror of whatever this is that's happening to him. Was any of that like putting it into Joseph? Did that relieve any of the like compulsion? As like I assume Lucky is still chanting, but is it as strong as it was?
It is. It is. I think in that moment, as it was leaving you, it was relieved somewhat. It's just that it's almost like he couldn't take it. It just consumed him physically.
Yeah, I think if he wasn't locked into fight mode, he would try and pass off to the second orderly, but he is in fight mode, and so he is going to square up. He like he reaches into his pocket. He's got his lucky wrench that he always has on his person, and he is advancing on this guy, like with it raised, and he is
Gonna whack him.
he's just going in for the strike.
Okay, this guy's gonna fight back. So roll it up.
Yep. That's fighting brawl again, right?
Yeah.
That is a 14.
Oh God, yeah. He got a 79. That's a hard success, right?
That's an extreme success for me.
Extreme success. Ooh. What is the damage for your wrench?
1d8 plus damage bonus.
And your damage bonus is a d4, right?
Yeah.
So you do 12 points of damage.
Extreme success. That's probably very bad for him.
Oh, he's dead.
Oh no. How am I going to get rid of this if I keep killing the victim?
You cave in his skull. Give me a sanity check because you just killed someone. Dr. Wells, give me a sanity check because you've just watched Lucky murder someone.
That's a 76 over a 48.
Cool. Give me a d4.
55 under 69.
Dr. Wells has seen worse.
D4?
Yeah.
1.
Cool. You're like, I killed people before too. But you probably feel a little bit guilty. You probably didn't mean to cave his skull in with one strike, but you sure did.
I'm impressed that I did it.
Yeah. Vera, you hear the sound of a skull being caved in. Make a sanity check now. You're too far away. Cool. So there is another room at the end of the east wing that is similarly situated to the tower room that you were in before. But you realize that if you get in there, that's as far as you can go. So you can either just go as far as you can, or there are some exterior windows. You could climb out onto the roof.
Okay. Can I open the windows though?
Yeah.
Or are they like barred windows? Okay. I think she's torn between like the thought process
Well, actually,
of...
give me a luck roll.
Oh, okay.
And we'll see.
Is that a skill?
Yeah, up at the top.
48 out of 75.
Yeah, you're lucky. The
Oh, right, it's lower.
Yeah.
No, I'm
right,
lucky.
good.
the window is latched, but it isn't barred. So,
Okay.
and you've made enough time. You haven't dithered too long. You can kind of, maybe pull a letter opener out or whatever, and jimmy with it quickly, and get it. It was just like painted shut, so you're able in your desperation to unlatch it, open the window. You don't have to go out. I'm just saying that's an option.
Okay. She probably will just because it's there. Otherwise, she would have, like, her thought process would have been the guy was locked in the room and the words didn't get out. What if she locks herself in this room? They can't get in. But
Your
the window
choice.
seems like a much better option.
Your choice.
And she's going to close it behind her
Okay.
with the thought that, maybe it'll stop it from spreading.
Cool. Out of curiosity, why don't you give me a climb?
Oh, dear.
I will say you're not immediately at risk of falling. I'm just curious.
Okay, well, it's a flat 40 out of 20, so no.
Yeah. It's a slate shingle roof. You're
I
having to
wore the
be.
wrong shoe for this.
You wore the wrong shoes. You're just kind of on your butt, kind of scooching. So you're not going to be super agile up there. And you think that if you try to do anything unusual, it might go really, really bad for you because you're 3 stories up. You probably have a moment of vertigo as you like look down and see over the side of the sloping roof the gardens, the gravel driveway. Like it's a good ways down. Cool. Lucky Dr. Wells. Down the 2nd floor.
Yeah. Lucky turns towards Wells, and advances towards Wells, and there's kind of like this, like, his face is almost like a pleading, like, what, please help me, but like, he's still talking gibberish and walking slowly towards Dr. Wells. He's got the wrench still in his hand with the blood dripping off of it, like just spouting gibberish. Like, what he's trying to say is like, please help me, I don't know what's going on, and like looking for Dr. Wells's eyes to try and do whatever this is that did it to him. Do it to somebody else. Get this out.
Yeah. So yeah, well, go ahead and contested power between Dr. Wells and Lucky first. And then Dr. Wells gets to decide whether to shoot you in the face.
It's a 45 under 50.
Oh, okay. Dr. Wells.
85 over 70.
Cool. Dr. Wells probably, I'm going to say, and tell me if this is wrong, but I'm going to say probably, I mean, you're already pointing the gun in that direction. So as Lucky, with a wrench dripping blood and skull, starts to advance, there's probably a little bit of like reorienting it towards you. But he's not advancing towards you physically very quickly. It's the eye contact that you weren't prepared for. And this time he is able to burst through your self-imposed walls against the weird. So yeah, go ahead, Dr. Wells, and give me a sanity check.
It's a 42 under 69.
Cool. So you have a similar experience as Lucky. You have this moment of like tunnel vision as you look up at Lucky's big, chiseled face, where all you can see is his bright blue eyes, and then he stops yammering. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, that's good. Wait, someone else is yammering. Who is it? Oh, crap, it's me. So you were successful, Lucky. It's out of you. I will say it feels very close. Whatever that crescendo was. Like as it was leaving you, it felt big. And Dr. Wells, as whatever this inspiration fills you, it feels like it's stretching you. Like almost like you can feel your joints pop as this pressure inside you lands like right in the pit of your stomach. Everyone else is getting the inspiration except for Vera. Oh, wow. So what do you do, Dr. Wells? Other than yammer?
All the things that come to mind I can't say on stream. I don't know, can I put it into a dead body?
I don't know.
Try to force whoever's he smashing with the skull, the eyes open.
I will say you go to, it's been a minute and you're out of the room. So I will say, as you are starting to kind of piece together, oh, the young man gave it to Lucky. Lucky was trying to give it to these guys, killed that one, tried to give it to me, did give it to me. Maybe I can give it to the dead guy. As you go towards the dead guy and try to connect with him, there's just nothing there. But then a bunch more orderlies start running. Like you hear coming up the stairs from the first floor, just the, multiple footfalls. And then coming around the corner, you see 3 more orderlies in their whites running towards you. What's going on? What's happening? And they see the dead body of one of their colleagues just leaking into the middle of the aisle or the hallway. They see giant Lucky with a wrench and Dr. Wells yammering gibberish. So I think they probably form some rapid value judgments about what's happening. What happens?
Y'all need to come help. I don't like something happened. Like this guy just disappeared. I like listen, my friend, like this guy, like just don't listen to him. Don't look at him, but you need to help him. You need to help him. And he's still holding on to the wrench, still waving it around.
Right.
Listen, we came here with
Covered
an
in
author,
blood.
Vera Vincent. We met with Yates. You need to go get Yates.
I think one of them probably will go get Yates. One of them will be like, subdue them. I'm going to go get the doctor, and then runs off. The other 2 advance, pulling truncheons out of their belts, smacking them against their hands. Just calm down.
Cool.
Calm down,
No,
big guy. Put down
it's fine. Listen,
put
like,
down the wrench.
Oh, he drops it.
Okay, clatters to the floor. Splashes in the pool of blood. Slides a little bit.
Lucky is like backing up against the wall. He's got his hands up, and he's kind of like sliding down to sit on the floor as he like looks at them all surrounding him.
Well, now that you have put down the thing, they're giving you a berth because you're huge, but you seem less threatening. The woman spouting gibberish with a gun now seems to be the biggest threat. So they advance on Dr. Wells. Dr. Wells, what do you do?
So for like knowing, I don't know, well, don't really know anything about this type deal, but like it's something strange and weird, and knowing that it passes from person to person type deal, the conscious is like, no, stay back, because if I give it to you, you're probably gonna die, but also I don't want it. So like holding up the gun to them because that
Okay.
seems logical to do.
So you're menacing them with the gun.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, would you make a power roll for me? there, Dr. Wells?
That is an extreme success with a 2.
Oh my God. So we got a fail and a regular success. As you're attempting to communicate with them, stay back for your own safety, these words just wash out of you. Lucky, you see the same thing. There's just this wave washes over these two guys and they just disintegrate. Almost like a slow motion explosion, like the surface of their bodies becomes this script that then slowly like leaves just a blank space and then adheres and works its way into the script that already covers the floor, walls, and ceiling. Vera, you see
Yes.
the first characters begin to slip underneath the closed window, crawling into the tiles of the roof.
Scooching faster.
Yep. Just trying to stay ahead of it. Okay, cool. Lucky Dr. Wells.
Am I still spouting gibberish?
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So all of the orderlies are gone, or there's some left over?
Those two, so the 3 came up, 1 went back to go get the doctor. The 2 that were advancing towards Dr. Wells are reduced to script.
Okay. I don't really know this Dr. Wells. So sorry, doctor, but you're not the one signing my paychecks. Lucky is gonna try and like stand up quietly and start backing away from Wells. He needs to go find his charge. He needs to go find Vera and make sure that he can do his job and that she is safe.
Yeah. Dr.
So,
Wells,
like-
are you going to stop him?
Yes.
How are you going to stop him?
Can fire at the legs.
Sure. You're going to try to shoot him in the leg. I'm going to say it is a firearms roll with a setback die because you're like intentionally trying not to hurt him too bad.
And I'm contesting with dodge.
You can't dodge firearms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, guns in traditional Call of Cthulhu are super deadly.
Okay. I'm in danger.
Yeah. I mean, if you're close, you could like get in real close to where you're in basically melee combat, and then you can like fight back. But like your stated intent is to try to get away. So once there's any separation between the two of you can just shoot. It's actually gonna be a flat roll now that I think about it, Sin, because it is point blank, but also called shot. So it's a flat firearms roll. What'd you get there, Dr. Wells?
Can I use like major boons on this or
Yeah,
no?
why not? That's what they're there for.
Okay.
If you want to kill Lucky.
I mean, let's be real. Lucky probably should die for the things that he's done today.
You just defended yourself. You're fine. That isn't
He's
the first
just
skull
a
you
boy.
cracked. You've accidentally on purpose killed other people. It's fine.
Can I use a major boon?
All right, roll it up.
Okay. 5. landed in the void
Uh-oh.
of somewhere.
We'll just roll the other one and remember what the ones was.
Can I use another major boon?
Sure. Use them all up.
Okay, that's a 24 under 35.
Cool. Roll your damage.
That's a 5.
Cool. Lucky, what is your maximum or your total hit points?
13.
Oh, you don't even take a major wound. So yes, she shoots you in the leg, but it misses the bone.
That's 5, you said?
Yep.
Okay. 8. 8 out of 16.
So Dr. Wells, you have just shot Lucky. Good job. Let's see. How can I make Vera's life more difficult? So Vera, you have scooched out to the very edge of the roof. It seems like out here at the edges, the words aren't expanding super duper fast, so you've been able to kind of keep ahead of it. But as you sit there with literally nowhere else to go, you start to see characters kind of leaking out of the gaps between the individual tile slates of the roof, and like kind of crawling up. You like one or two of them get on your shoes. You're trying to brush them off, and you can feel a certain softness of the roof beneath you. Like specifically as you're looking around, you can see you're near some chimneys, and the characters crawl up to the very top of the chimneys and out to the very edge of the roof, and the gutters. Like as it seems like the very last few square feet of this structure are inscribed. You start to feel like you're sitting on a bed or marshmallows or something nice and giving. In fact, you start to sink into it.
No, thank you. Is there anything around that I could climb down? Or maybe if it's soft enough, maybe I can like actually grab into it and climb down?
You can make a climb.
Oh,
I'll
God.
even give you a bonus die because the whole building is somewhat malleable at this moment.
Nope. That is a 73. That is a 55. So nope. But you know what? I'll use a major boon. Do we have more major boons?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We used a lot of them. We have one more major boon.
Yeah.
Okay. So nope. All right. Well, 67.
Okay. I wonder what the most interesting thing to happen would be. I think the most, so you're trying to climb down. I think you try a couple of times and then you kind of have to move to another area, and you just delay too long until you find yourself like one of your legs just sinks fully into the roof, and you can feel the words crawling around your skin. Like if you've ever been fishing, you know, like the big tubs of worms, it feels like you stuck your leg in one of those. I think that's worth another sanity check. Woo woo.
Yeah, we're also back to screaming. Okay. I gotta use another
Minor bane. So add 10.
Well, I got an 88.
So make it a
So that's a
98.
98.
What is your sanity?
42, I believe it was.
So under
So 2
50.
away from insane. Yeah.
Uh,
It started at 50.
okay, yeah, so it's under 50, which means that that's a critical fail.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll a d6 for me. You could roll a 1, or you could roll a 5. What is it? A 6? Well, the good news is, although you did lose more than 5 or 5 or more from a single roll, your temporary insanity is bypassed by the indefinite insanity
Oh, good.
that you suffer as you surrender. And we have a bird's eye view as this, it looks like an anthill. These words are now very busy, crawling all over every surface, crawling over each other, weaving in and out. You simply give up and are absorbed into it. Lucky, Dr. Wells, the interior of this building is becoming somewhat odd. Like you can see the long hallway that you're looking down begin to kind of warp and flex. And then you hear voices. You hear voices. What's going on? I don't know. Strange situation. And then a couple more. That one orderly who left and Dr. Yates appear.
Yeah.
By the way, there are a number of rooms and cells here with inmates. Now that Lucky is free of this compulsion, it occurs to you, you haven't heard a peep from any of them. It's been a pregnant silence, a waiting, anticipatory silence. Like you're suddenly very aware that there are hundreds and hundreds of people in this facility with all this weird stuff going on that seem to be silently waiting for something. Dr. Wells, Lucky, what do you do as the last orderly or that you've seen and the administrator of this place approach? What are you doing? What's going on? I knew I should never let you in here. Where are my copies? Where's that writer woman?
We don't know. We need I don't know where. I need to find her. I need whatever. I don't know.
You've been shot. Subdue that woman. The orderly he's just gonna bum rush Dr. Wells because he sees her with a gun. He sees Lucky. Now they're close enough they can see. They probably assume that Dr. Wells has shot the dead guy. So, or at least Dr. Yates probably assumes that. So, Dr. Wells, the orderly is going to rush you with the while you're holding the gun. What do you do? You can do something too, Lucky, if you want, but this is the immediate thing that's happening is the orderly is rushing you.
I want to point the gun at them, and like fire if they get too close.
Yeah, he's coming to tackle you. So you're gonna shoot him?
Yeah, but also try to like transfer it.
I think it's gonna be one or the other. So you're gonna wait until he gets close and try to feed it to him, or are you gonna shoot him?
Try to feed it to him.
Cool. Power roll. What'd you get there?
A 1.
A 1? Oh, wow. Let's see. How can we make this really interesting? Oh, I know how we can make this really interesting. That is a critical success. So all these years of denying the strange things that happened to you as a child, all these years of rationalizing all the weirdness fall away from Dr. Wells, and you tap into a hitherto unknown power within you as you simply focus on getting whatever this is out of you. And you do. There's this wave, all the words, and then the walls and floors and ceilings combined all kind of ripple and wibble and wobble as this wave of will rushes out of Dr. Wells, kind of bowling back the orderly that was rushing towards you. Dr. Yates kind of stumbles up against the wall. You can hear the rattling of the doors as down this long hallway. And for a moment, there's absolute silence. And then the orderly, Dr. Yates, and every inmate begins this chanting. Lucky, Dr. Wells, what do you do? As this happens, you see the hallway lurch and begin to twist. You can feel the space around you begin to expand. You even feel, you probably don't have the terminology for it, but you feel gravity around you change. What do you do?
Can I leave the building?
Yeah. Dr. Wells
Yeah,
just...
we're still on the 3rd floor, right?
You came down to the 2nd floor.
Okay.
And you know where the stairs going down to the 1st floor are. You've seen the orderlies come up them.
Yeah. Lucky is gonna try and make his way, like limping, leaning against the wall, make his way to the stairs, get out of here as fast as possible.
Cool. Dr. Wells, would you give me a constitution check? Lucky, would you give me a constitution check with a setback die to reflect your hurt leg?
Yep. So...
Vera, I'll tell you the interesting things that are happening to you in a moment.
My first roll was a 63. Re-rolling the tens place. That is a 0. So I think that stands at 63.
What's your con?
Oh, my con is an 80.
Okay, yeah. So what is your speed? It's down on the bottom. Down the bottom of the page. I think it's down there next to your weapons and stuff.
Move?
Yeah.
7.
So, So you're not normally super fast, but you're just like powering through. Like this is a do or die situation. Especially now that it seems like literally hundreds of people, like you still don't understand what this is, but whatever it is that was getting close is about to happen. So you just book it regardless of how bad it hurts to hit that leg. And you are helped somewhat by the decomposition of the stairs. So Dr. Wells and Lucky, it's more sliding down the stairs than running down them. But there's this mad scramble as you like run by walls that suddenly like spike out these protrusions, and the ceiling just alternately lifts up and then crashes down very near the floor, and you have to kind of slide and skid and crawl. But you're both able to just exit this collapsing, warping edifice as you step out. To be clear, as soon as you step down the steps onto the gravel driveway, it is solid. It is normal, not a word to be seen. You turn back and look, and this is just as the words are superimposed over each other. This is like 20, 30, 40 different buildings, some of which have recognizable architecture, some of which are very alien architecture, superimposed and fading into and out of each other. Lucky, at one moment, you think as these shifts are happening, you think you see Vera suspended. for just a moment. And then in one final shout, all of the inmates kind of pronounce this final unpronounceable word. Way too many consonants. It is hard to listen to. I need Lucky and Dr. Wells to give me one final sanity check.
One of us. One of us.
Oh, that's a fail. That's a 67
Ooh.
over 50.
D6. Dr. Wells.
37 under 69.
Take one.
4 damage.
Ooh.
Or 4 sanity loss.
So, but you're still above your threshold for, okay, cool. So you're keeping it together, but this is the weirdest thing that Lucky has ever seen. As if reality itself is unraveling before you. And Vera, or something that looks like it might be Vera, but might also be a dozen, 20, 30, 40 other people / things. But with this final pronouncement, the Gothic edifice of the asylum just snaps back into reality. And there's total still for a couple of seconds. And then you hear an almighty din as all of the residents begin yelling and banging. I think you even see up on like the second and third floor through the windows, you can see some inmates running it up and down the hallways. You probably see like a chair crash out a window. Somehow, at least a number of them have gotten free. What do you do?
When you said that I saw Vera, did I was Vera like hanging in midair like they were gonna fall, or did I like how was that there?
Give me a spot hidden retroactively.
Ooh, absolutely.
See if you were able to
Spot.
figure out what's going on.
That is a 45. I'm spending 5 luck to bump that down to a 40, which is the flat fail.
Oh, flat success. It looked like she was up in one corner, and in the glimpses that you got of her, it looked like she was sliding or being pulled into the middle of the building. It was just little glimpses, but it looked like she was making a definite progress, kind of working her way down the building.
Okay.
Toward this, basically toward the center where you're standing.
Okay. What I want to do is, like, as soon as the building, like, there's a second or two where Lucky is looking at the building, to like just reassure himself that it's solid, that like it's real, and it's not going to start twisting again. And then after a couple seconds, he's like psychs himself up and starts like running in, to try and find Vera. Like, and he just trying to figure out like. He knows generally like where the stairways are, where the main floors are. So he's going to try and go to the stairs, go to the floor, like try and find Vera based on like, extrapolating.
Yeah. Well, the good news is you don't have to go far. You kind of work up your nerve and you go to like, you're just running to bust in when the front door opens. Vera, you're not sure what happened. It feels like you've been gone a long time. Like that time you went on a European tour. And what with all the different cities and different cuisines and different languages, it all kind of worked itself into a blur in your mind. But you do definitely feel like you've been away. But you're having a hard time piecing it together. The one thing you know for sure is the book that you're holding is very important. It's going to make your career. So as Vera stumbles out, she is carrying a book that you've never seen, bound in something like leather, strange sigils embossed upon it. What happens? Also, you see inmates running, crashing furniture.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God you're okay. Are you we got to get out of here. This is not the inmates are out. They're escaping. We got to get out of here.
Dr. Wells is on the way to the car.
Dr. Wells is in the car. Someone start this thing now.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Are you good? Are you good? I'm sorry. I don't know where the bag is with all of your stuff, but like I lost it. I think it's still up in the towers. I'm not going back in there. We can ask them. Just like let's just go.
Oh, it's inconsequential.
Lucky just kind of nods. He's just okay, whatever. He goes back and starts like trying to crank up the car, get it going.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead and give me another navigate.
Oh boy. I'm spending a luck to make that a 10, which is a flat success.
Okay, yeah. You're a little bit freaked out, but maybe it's because you're just on autopilot. You're able to return to the house that Vera has rented or has been loaned to her. Lucky you probably need medical attention, given. The good news is that Dr. Wells knows a nurse who is probably currently feeding the monster that is in her best friend's basement, but can easily be summoned to wrap you up. And you don't need long-term medical care because you didn't suffer a major wound. We'll say we see a little bit of a montage of Eloise coming in and wrapping up your leg, maybe giving you some stitches, giving you a huge amount of morphine, because that's Eloise's way. Vera is fine. You're fine.
Never felt better.
You have a clarity and inspiration. Not only that it's not only a return of the degree of inspiration that has seen your career forward to this point. It is something purer than you have ever known. What you thought before was your own wit and intelligence and inspiration was utterly mundane and minuscule by comparison to what fills you now as you hold this precious book and you have but one compulsion, and that is to spread its contents in as many forms as you can to as many people as you possibly can, because the story wants to be in people and you want to help it. So that'll be fine. Cool. But after a period of time, your kind of normal way of thinking and working comes back. I mean, you never lose the indefinite insanity unless you do something about it. But right now, I don't think you want to. So we see a montage as, Lucky is kind of, I'm going to say, hobbling about the house, doing errands around town. Dr. Wells has returned to her office, probably trying to write up a report of what happened and then deciding not to worry about it. You have read that there was some sort of general riot at the asylum, and that at least one of the orderlies was killed, but it appears that the fault has been placed on inmates. It is. You also read later that Dr. Yates has himself been institutionalized, There's a report that he has been slowly going mad, apparently, because there was some sort of county commission that came in and take a look at the conditions at the asylum, and it was determined, like a real psychological professional took one look at Dr. Yates and was like, this guy has been crazy for a while. So he is currently receiving the best care at his own asylum. So it seems like you all got off scot-free. And then I think the camera closes on a lovely kind of Murder, She Wrote montage of Vera biking around town, Vera saying hi to the baker, and then late at night, Vera typing page after page after page of the most engrossing stories. Your publisher will be happy. Cool. So y'all are ending the world. Well done. And only one person went crazy and only one person got shot. So that's about as good as Call of Cthulhu gets. Congratulations.
Yay.
Yeah. Good job. Hey, we should do that thing. This time we'll start with Jeff.
Hey, everybody. I'm Chev. I have been playing Lucky, who didn't really believe in all of this weirdo stuff, and a lot of other people ended up paying the price for it. I usually spend my time on the internet, hanging around in people's chat in the community, but I also do sometimes stream myself a couple times a week playing Mahjong, which is a tile-based card game. Hanging out with some music and some cat cam, and at the urging of some friends, I am trying to work in some other content as well. So if any of that sounds fun, come hang out and check it out. We would love to have you. Sin.
Hi, I'm Sin. We're sinful __ potato on this here platform that is Twitch. I guess I'm a variety streamer. I play a variety of games. Occasionally do arts. Last Friday, I think it was Friday, that I opened Pokemon cards on stream. Took me 2 hours, which was weird. So yeah. I have a random question in the sense that would hit points have been restored since last time?
What at the rate of one a day. And we'll say that this was like maybe 5 days after the last one, so you're probably fine.
Okay. Also, out of the 2 writers / reporters that Dr. Wells has met within her time of these sessions, she doesn't like either of them. Because one of them turned on her and the other one also turned but didn't and ran away. Kind of left her to die. That's cool. So yeah.
I mean, you are free to keep up.
So SJ.
I'm SJ or SJ_sidekick. Been playing Vera, whose stories used to center on a detective who would have these occult cases and then prove to be mundane, very Scooby-Doo style. But now very different type of writing. I think it's for the best for everybody involved. So yeah, I don't stream, but you can catch me lurking or playing games on other people's streams. But it.
Awesome. Yeah, wait till your readers realize that the rituals that you put into your books actually work. Hey, cool. Yeah, I'm a 00 Delight Michael whatever narrator or keeper of arcane lore in the Call of Cthulhu system. This has been another of our loosely interconnected one-shot stories. One of them is a 2-shot, but little short kind of snippets of eldritch nonsense and weirdness and horror that we call the Cavendish collection. So yeah, there's more of this to come and more kind of one-shot stuff, and then we've got later in the schedule some revisiting of beloved longer running tales. Like I think we're doing Teen Magic Academy at some point, right?
Hope so.
Awesome. So yeah, stay tuned. Come check us out. Hang out over at community.c+content.tv, which is our Discord, where there's all kinds of stuff and polls, and you can share pictures of dice and memes and you name it, really cool fan art, etc. Talk about nerdy gaming stuff. And as always, you can head on over to, if you are not currently there, you can head on over to cpluscontent.tv, which is our YouTube channel, which is where all of our stuff lives. It's like 200 and some odd episodes of all kinds of stuff, like 98% of which is not D&D. So it's a lot of different systems. Go and check that out. If you like Cthulhu, there is I think that's like a 20 episode run of Cowboys and Cthulhu, which is a Call of Cthulhu Down Darker Trails series, which both Chev and SJ were in. And there's more of this stuff. And there's some of our own little games that we've built, and sci-fi and spooky and fantasy and you name it. So go check it out. And if you like what you see, give it a like and a follow, because all that stuff's free on YouTube. And yeah, I think we should probably, speaking of YouTube, say goodbye to our friends on YouTube and then come back here and we'll talk a little bit and do the write out and all that good stuff. So awesome. Thanks, YouTube. Bye.